14 agonizing minutes. That is exactly how long Senegal stood completely still. The Lions of Teranga refused to play. They walked right off the pitch. To the passionate people of Senegal, men in suits stole a continental championship. The 2025 Africa Cup of Nations final descended into pure, unadulterated chaos. In the furious eyes of the fans, the referee awarded Morocco a fandom penalty. The Senegalese players felt that betrayal deep in their bones. They knew the truth. The entire globe watched it happen live. And now, we are witnessing the birth of a vengeance tour. This is not just preparation for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, it is a righteous crusade. They demand justice. They demand respect. You can feel the raw, cinematic energy radiating from the squad right now. They are furious. They are hyper-focused. The world stage awaits their wrath.
14. That number burns. It literally burns in the heart of every single fan walking the streets of Dakar. For 14 agonizing minutes, the biggest match in African football stopped dead. Head coach Pape Thiaw ordered his men straight to the sidelines. He drew a massive line in the sand. The boardroom intervened. The referee pointed to the spot. The Lions roared back. They absolutely refused to accept what they viewed as outright brazen cheating. They absorbed the blow. Sadio Mané eventually coaxed his exhausted, heartbroken brothers back onto the grass. Goalkeeper Édouard Mendy stepped up. He stopped the Paninka penalty. He held the line. But the damage was done. The Confederation of African Football later stripped Senegal of the title. They handed the crown to Morocco in a sterile, fluorescent-lit office. The Lions felt completely robbed. But here is the part nobody is talking about. The agony of those 14 minutes ignited a massive sleeping giant. A fire was lit.
Take a look at this timeline. It maps their entire emotional DNA. 2002, the absolute miracle in Seoul. A debut nation shocking the mighty, reigning champions France. It was pure magic. Then, 2022, the first AFCON triumph. A dizzying, euphoric high. A generational curse finally broken. But 2025? The boardroom betrayal. The crown snatched away in the dark. This timeline reveals Senegal's unique emotional identity. It is their unyielding Gara Charrua, a relentless cycle of miracles and curses. They taste the glorious summit, only to be violently pushed off by unseen hands. It builds an impenetrable psychological armor around these players. Every setback sharpens their claws. They do not forget, they do not forgive.
An Africa Cup is not a Netflix series. Read that quote. Really let it sink in. That is the raw, unfiltered voice of the streets in Dakar. Fans spilling out onto the roundabouts, vuvuzelas screaming into the pre-dawn sky. They watched the heartbreak happen live on their screens. They saw the script flipped by suits, not by boots on the pitch. This specific quote channels the righteous fury of an entire republic. It transforms a lost trophy from a mere defeat into a catalyst for absolute war. The boardroom curse is their new fuel. Are you feeling the tension yet? Does this make your blood pump? Because for Senegal, this upcoming World Cup is not a game. It is a historic reckoning.
Section 1. Architect of the Rebellion. Papi Bonana Sia's Master Plan.
The crucial element here is the man holding the reins, Pape Bouna Thiaw. He actually played in that legendary 2002 squad. He knows the crushing weight of history. Promoted in 2024, Thiaw operates as a cold-blooded tactical mastermind. He stays ice cold. When CAF handed him a touchline ban for his AFCON protest, he didn't even flinch. He outsourced the legal noise to the Federation. To him, it is just administrative paperwork. Here is his master plan. Step 1. Absorb the pressure. They drop into a dense, suffocating 4-4-2 mid-block. They grapple. Much like the traditional lamb wrestlers of Senegal, they test your physical weight. They feel your balance. Step 2. Unleash the counterpress. The trap suddenly snaps shut. Step 3. Smash the window. They don't bother picking the lock to your defense. They throw a sledgehammer straight through the glass and climb right inside. It is brutal. It is highly calculated. A sudden, terrifying wave of physical momentum and vertical passing. Opponents simply suffocate. This is their Gara Charrua in constant motion, an unstoppable, unyielding force.
The 7-second frenzy. That is literally all the time you have. When Senegal loses the football, they do not retreat. They hunt. For exactly 7 seconds, it is pure, targeted chaos. They absolutely swarm the ball carrier. They cut off the oxygen to the midfield. If they win it back, they strike instantly. If they don't, the steel shutters pull down, they bolt the door shut. It operates on a flawless mechanical trigger. It is a terrifying display of raw athleticism mixed with strict, unbreakable discipline. But what happened next changed everything. They took this aggressively furious system, they weaponized it. And they pointed it directly at the rest of the footballing globe. Nobody saw what was coming next. Section 2. Kings and Unseen Princes, the Stars of Teranga.
A master tactical system means absolutely nothing without its frontline soldiers. Senegal possesses generational weapons. They carry a truly massive burden, the crushing weight of 18 million people, the lingering pain of a contested crown. Look at this comparison right here. Sadio Mané on the left, Mohamed Salah on the right. Two absolute titans. 223 club matches played together at Liverpool. They assisted each other 35 times. Blood brothers on Merseyside, bitter, unforgiving rivals under the international lights. This specific rivalry forged their emotional steel. The 2021 AFCON final, the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, Senegal triumphed. Mané stood tall, Salah fell to his knees in the dirt. The margins remain incredibly razor-thin. One single missed penalty, one green laser pointer flashing in the eye. This bitter tactical war taught Senegal exactly how to survive at the absolute precipice. It built their miraculous resilience. Do you see the raw tension in their eyes? That is the definitive look of kings fighting to the death for a single throne.
Sadio Mané, the boy from Bambali. He acts as the beating soul of the entire nation. Operating mostly from the left channel, he executes an explosive, terrifying slalom. He drops his shoulder. He vanishes. He scored 5 crucial goals in the qualifying campaign. But his real value? His absolute, stubborn refusal to accept defeat. When the referee pointed to the spot in Morocco, Mané led the walk-off. He protects his pride fiercely. He carries the entire attacking burden like a stubborn removal man. He takes the physical battering from giant defenders. He stands right back up. Mané is the sharp, lethal tip of the spear. He simply will not let his team be pushed aside ever again.
And standing right behind him is an absolute mountain, Kalidou Koulibaly, the colossal K2. He is the immovable defensive anchor, the ultimate line organizer. When opponents try to aggressively breach the Senegalese wall, they hit solid rock. He steps out aggressively onto the front foot. He intercepts danger before the contact phase even begins. But his true, unspoken genius? The pass. A brutally efficient two-touch diagonal clip. He bypasses the crowded midfield entirely. He finds the far side winger in full stride. He launches an artillery strike straight from the back line. He commands the Gara Charrua, a towering, intimidating symbol of Senegalese defiance. How do you even begin to break that down?
But the veterans absolutely cannot do it alone. Thiaw expertly blends seasoned royalty with explosive, incredibly hungry youth. Look at these rapidly rising stars, birthed from legendary academies like Generation Foot and Dime Bars. Pat Matar Sarr, a relentless two-phase engine. He seamlessly transitions from a bruising, bone-crunching tackle to an elegant, long-striding burst forward. Lamine Camara, the vital midfield spark plug. He injects sudden, beautiful chaos into the rigid tactical structure. El Hadji Malik Diaf. He throws devilishly accurate crosses right into the danger zone. Iliman Ndiaye, the brilliant, street-level craftsman picking the lock. And Nicolas Jackson, the high-pressing channel runner violently stretching the opposition's defense. They provide the subtle, artistic craftsmanship hiding right behind the sheer physical momentum. They are the unseen princes. And trust me, they are starving for glory.
Section 3. Brute Force and Pace, the 2026 Qualification Storm.
Senegal didn't just qualify for North America. They marched. 7 dominant wins, 0 losses, 3 draws. They systematically dismantled the opposition, and it resulted in exactly 22 goals. Just let that number echo in your mind for a second. 22 goals scored during a grueling qualification run. That represents a truly massive offensive output. They did not just win football games, they executed opponents. The rapid vertical releases, the aggressive, sweeping diagonal switches, the rapid-fire half-space wall passes. When Senegal enters the final third, they are utterly ruthless. They isolate your wide players. They exploit sheer, terrifying pace. The 4-3-3 formation stretches you completely wide, and then they strike directly down the middle like a lightning bolt. 22 times the net bulged. 22 times the Lions roared. They arrive in North America armed completely to the teeth.
But look at this number right here, 3. That shows exactly how many goals they conceded. 3. It instantly violently contrasts with their massive offensive explosion. It perfectly proves the terrifying discipline of their organized low block. When they lose the football, the 5-4-1 defensive shape becomes entirely impenetrable. Edouard Mendy sets himself narrowly. He explodes wide to violently tip shots away. The defense suffocates the remaining minutes with sheer, boring, bureaucratic discipline. You cannot pass through them. You absolutely cannot outmuscle them. To score against Senegal requires a minor miracle. To beat them, almost scientifically impossible. This cold defensive steel is the absolute bedrock of their vengeance tour. So how does the rest of the world respond?
Look at the visual spread of the terror. Sadio Mané with 5 goals, Pape Matar Sarr with 4, Ismaila Sarr with 3. It creates a lethal, highly unpredictable multi-pronged attack. You cannot just double-team Mané anymore. If you do, Ismaila Sarr totally burns you on the right flank. If you drop deep to cover the wings, Pape Matar Sarr violently crushes a shot from the edge of the penalty box. Their system intentionally, ruthlessly isolates the wide players. It forces one-on-one nightmares for terrified fullbacks. It forms a perfectly balanced, destructive offensive machine. Pick your poison, because every single option is deadly.
Section 4. A Nation in Exile. The Empty Seats of North America.
Senegal's traveling fans are genuinely legendary. Elaborate, beautiful body paint. Military-style yellow, red, and green covering the stadiums. The endless, rhythmic beating of the drums. They act as the vibrant heartbeat of any major tournament. But due to strict travel policies, the vast majority of passionate fans from Dakar face an entry ban. The players will step onto the pitch thousands of miles away from home, cut off from their people. They fight alone in massive, quiet stadiums. And waiting for them back in Africa are 18 detained lions. This represents the raw, painful, open wound. 18 Senegalese fans remain unjustly jailed in Morocco after the chaotic AFCON final. It leaves a glaring, painful scar on the entire national psyche. The struggle in the stands firmly became a battle for pure national dignity. The players absolutely know this reality. They carry the faces of those 18 fans in their minds every single day. Every brutal tackle, every lung-busting sprint, every goal honors them. It totally transcends football. It becomes a dedicated mission of rescue through victory. The perceived injustice purely fuels their garachurua. The deep heartache of Morocco still haunts them, but it only makes their intense resolve absolutely unbreakable.
Raising the colors of Senegal to the pinnacle of African football, President Bassirou Diomaye Faye spoke those exact heavy words. It served as a massive rallying cry, a solemn, unbreakable vow. He entrusted the squad with a monumental, historic mission. When they raise the flag, they lift the crushed spirit of 18 million people. This quote makes it crystal clear. The 2026 World Cup is not merely a football tournament. It is a sworn, sacred duty. They fiercely defend their honor on the global stage. They show the entire watching world that dirty boardroom politics cannot crush the beautiful spirit of Teranga. They absolutely will not bow.
Section 5. The Final Reckoning. Entering the Group of Death. Senegal aggressively steps right into Group I against an absolute storm of global heavyweights. The group draw did them zero favors, but true kings do not ask for easy paths. Look at these massive matchups on the table. France, the ultimate, beautiful, poetic justice. A high-stakes rematch of the 2002 miracle. Kylian Mbappe's blistering, terrifying pace running straight against Koulibaly's brutal, bone-shaking interceptions. A literal colonial ghost story written directly on the pitch. Then, Norway. Erling Haaland's pure, terrifying mechanical power against Édouard Mendy's impossible, cat-like reflexes. The unstoppable force violently meets the immovable object. Finally, Iraq. The dangerous unknown factor, ready to be totally suffocated by Thiaw's relentless counterpress. The tactical war waiting for them will strictly test every single ounce of their discipline. The sledgehammer meets the reinforced shield. Will their 7-second frenzy actually hold up against elite world-class midfields? Will their stubborn low block survive the sustained 90-minute bombardment? Every single match brings a vicious stylistic clash. Every 90 minutes provides a brutal, exhausting chess match played at 100 miles per hour. Are you ready for this?
June 16, 2026. MetLife Stadium. Circle the date in bright red ink. The opening clash against France. 80,000 empty seats waiting for the furious Lions to roar. The entire world watches closely to see if the unbelievable magic of 2002 can be summoned once again. The long build-up has been incredibly chaotic. The bitter AFCON fallout. The unfairly detained fans. The painful travel bans. The pressure is completely astronomical. The boiler fiercely rattles. But the real story? That comes in exactly 60 seconds, when that first whistle finally blows. when the cheap talking completely stops, when the ball finally rolls. The Vengeance Tour officially violently begins.
Teranga. It is Wolof for hospitality. It beautifully represents the warm, welcoming soul of Senegal. But hear this incredibly clearly. On the pitch, these angry lions offer absolutely none. Zero mercy, no quarter given. They step onto the green grass with a fiercely burning sense of injustice and a heavy tactical sledgehammer ready to swing. Their unyielding Gara Charrua, famously born from the miracle of soul and aggressively hardened by the heartbreak in Morocco, violently shatters the world stage. They have the blazing pace, they have the terrifying brute force, they have the ice-cold mastermind pulling the strings. They stand right now as my honest, fearless prediction to go much deeper than any African team ever has in history. They simply will not be stopped.
This specific team has the absolute burning fire to burn down the entire tournament. They play for far, far more than just a shiny gold trophy. They play for sweet redemption. They play for the 18 detained brothers. They play to vehemently, aggressively correct history. Will the mighty Lions of Teranga rewrite the stars in North America? Will their brilliant tactical mastery and raw, unbridled emotion carry them to the ultimate prize? The massive stage is perfectly set for the most dramatic, cinematic story of the entire summer. Now, I really want to hear from you. Which team are you supporting at World Cup 2026? Drop it below in the comments. Keep the passion alive, and I will see you on the next Explainer. So, did you find today's Explainer useful?
Then definitely drop a like, share it out, and subscribe to join the family.
Tell us, what should we explore next? Stay well.